Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Game Counselor. Scholars. Now, I'm going to say this right now. I'm not going to make a very lighthearted intro, mostly because we're about to react to a very serious video. And I mean, I don't even want to try to make a ha ha hee ha of before a situation that is just not funny. So we're going to jump in. We're just going to talk about it, right? We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to react to WolfeyVGC, and a video that's been going around, already has 1.3 million views. I already saw on Twitter and have made my own comments about it. Now, how do I know who Wolfey is, because rolling back the tape, I used to do shiny hunting a lot. I used to play Pokemon. I'm a nerd. I play Pokemon, and I did a lot of shiny hunting. I used to watch a lot of A Drive, and then I used to be part of that environment. And so Wolfey would come up into the picture, and then I used to watch some of his videos. Occasionally I'll see some of them on YouTube and watch him out. He's a competitive player in the Pokemon scene, generally a nice guy. I know of Wolfey. Don't consume all his content, not his #1 fan, right? But I know who he is, and generally seemed like a nice guy. I could be wrong, but doesn't matter whether you like him or not. The topic we're going to cover is sexual harassment, and that's what this video is. It's a very long video, so I'm going to try to be I want to react and give my thoughts, because sexual harassment, I mean, I've literally got trained to work with clients from all points of the world, not world, but of trauma, right? As a clinician, you've got to be able to work with trauma and mental disorders and all that jazz, right? And trauma is always a hard one, especially when it comes to, men, because when it comes to women, they're more open. They're more willing to talk about their feelings, and men like to bury their emotions. And so I always, when someone's willing to put themselves out there to be vulnerable, especially as a man, not to say that, same thing for women, because women also hide because they're afraid of backlash, especially in the world we live in online. Mostly people are willing to hide their actual deeper emotions. And so I do want to be respectful of the situation. And football is not what I was expecting to be hit with right off the rip.
I have thought about making every day for the last 2 months. Every day since last year's World Championships in August. This is also a video that I don't especially want to make, but I do think that it is very important, because I think that you, the viewers, deserve an update on what's been going on and on what.
By the way, if you're wondering why I am even reacting to this in the first place, to give more, to push it out there, right? Not everyone is part of the Pokemon community. Not everyone, dives into Pokemon. Just like not everyone goes into Destiny or Call of Duty or Halo, whatever. Everyone has their own little population. So I want to put more eyes on it. I want to push this forward. The more people that know and are involved, we could try to have issues like this not happen. And by the way, someone's going to make a comment, well, he's not the only one that happens to. And you're right. This is someone that I happen to know. And if you happen to know someone that's gone through similar issues, then I encourage you to continue to promote their videos and to push it into the known, so that everyone is on the same page about not allowing these behaviors to continue.
I am going to be making some of the changes that I'm going to be making. I already today have recorded for over an hour, trying to get this video into a place that I felt like it was good and coherent. And as you are watching this attempt at the video, you've probably realized that I have not succeeded yet. So I have some notes on the screen for myself here, just to try and keep the video brief. I actually sat down after this year's World Championships back in August, and I recorded a video that I had hoped would be this video, but it was about 40 minutes long. It was really rambly, and in the end, I think it read more as a plea for empathy rather than a channel update, which is what I hope this video will be. I want to be respectful of your time. So for those of you who only want to know what's going on and don't want the full picture, I'm just going to tell you up front what has been happening. Well, I'm going to tell you the takeaways, and then I will tell you what's been happening and how it's affected me. Here's the biggest thing that you need to know. This year, for the first time since I started making them, I will not be doing a video about the World Championships. This is not a decision that I take lightly. The Worlds video I've always felt is the most important video each year on the channel, but I also think it's the right decision to not make one this year. On top of that, I am not certain how much longer I will be attending in-person tournaments. I guess what I will say about that is that it is entirely possible that I never compete in or attend another World Championships again.
That's pretty big statement coming from him, because he's like been a world champion, right? He is the dude that competes. He's a high-end player. Like he's made a career out of competitive Pokemon. I don't know how much he's won outside of the fact that he's a world champion. I know that he's won like some regionals. I don't know how recently he's won and how far he's gone into these world tournaments. I don't know none of that. However, he is very invested into this community. He's very invested into this as I'm assuming both as a career and a hobby. Hopefully he enjoys what he does, which is probably why this is, when you think about that, the fact that he's stepping away and giving that up, that is not easy. Especially he hasn't said what I already know. And so with that being, the fact that he's been dealing with sexual assaulting, people have been assaulting him, right? Or not assault, but harassment. I mean, is groping considered sexual assault? I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the legal, the definition of assault. I would consider it assault if no one gave you permission to touch. I would consider it sexual assault, but someone who's more legal limbo, involved, who knows all that terminology and has more knowledge than I do in the legal world, can sound off. But either way, this is, you don't just walk away from something that I'm assuming he loves, especially when it's not because you're tired of it, doing the thing. It's because other people are forcing you away because they're doing something that should never happen.
Now, I understand that these are pretty strong statements, and so you are certainly curious, if you've made it this far into the video, what has been going on. And I think the easiest way to start talking about this is to talk about this year's World Championships. Worlds this year was my least favorite Worlds ever. And in the past, most of the time I didn't have fun at a Worlds, it was because I didn't feel good about my performance. By contrast, this year I feel excellent about my performance. While it wasn't a great finish, it was certainly a good one, and there's a lot of things that I'm extremely proud of that happened both at the tournament and in the preparation that make me feel overall very good about this year's run. And so the reason why I feel bad about this year's World Championships has nothing to do with my performance, and if anything, the performance is actually helping. Over the past several years, attending tournaments has been getting more and more difficult. And I would say that Worlds this year was a turning point and a peak and made it clear to me that something had to change. Like I said, my goal is for this to be an update video. I don't really want this to be a video where I, sit down and tell you every single thing that's been challenging over the last couple of years, because I don't think that's helpful. And so I'm going to try and avoid giving too many examples, but I want to give you a couple ones just to ground everybody in kind of the scale of what's been going on. My hope is that you do not use this as this one example as, take it as that's the whole problem, right? I'm going to give you one example. Please understand this is a small piece of a whole, but I think it gives, like I said, I think it gives good grounding as to kind of the general scope that we're talking about here. Just checking my notes here. Yeah. So, the example that I think makes things the clearest, the fastest, I'm all about efficiency today for some reason, perhaps because this is my 10th attempt or whatever. The example that I think makes things the clearest, the fastest is that I competed at 7 official tournaments in the 2025 season. So from September 2024 until August 2025, I attended 7 in-person tournaments. At 5 of those tournaments, I was groped. Fans, when taking pictures with me, put their hands on me sexually and
see, you can't blame. I don't think this is just a modern gamer situation. I think this is just the world we live in. And people think it's just females. I think it happens to everyone. I think it happens to men and women. This isn't it shouldn't be, this situation shouldn't be cornered to just one sex over the other. I think It is happening across the board. And why would I, as someone who lives in the world of psychology and has studied all these aspects, especially trauma, you've got this top player, Wolfey, right? He has to maintain an image. He has to maintain some performance. He has to keep his cool, because if he were to act unreasonable, or I don't think it's unreasonable, by the way, I would absolutely go ape shit. But if he acted in a way that, Nintendo or Pokemon didn't like, he could be banned, kicked. It could ruin his future because someone decided that they can just do whatever they want. And unfortunately, men are told, your feelings don't matter. So when you go to report stuff, and I don't know if you reported or what happened, he's a nice guy. And listen, even as an introvert, there's times where I don't know how to react to people in person when they act a certain way. I'm just kind of it catches you. You get, especially out of nowhere, you don't expect certain behavior. You're just blindsided. You're like a deer in headlights, and you don't know how to respond. And by the time you come to it, you're processing what's going on at whatever rate. And you're like, did that just happen? So I can only imagine. I've never had it happen to me. And I can only imagine what it's like to, meet people who are your fans, people who know you, and they just do that. And you guarantee it was as casual as possible. It was probably not hey guys, I'm doing this thing. It was probably the most casual, grab or whatever, right? And it in that moment, you're just, how do you react? You can't lose your cool. You can't act, go crazy and act a fool, because especially if your career or your placement, you could get kicked out. Like I said, and it sucks. He should never have to go through that. No one should have to go through that.
Non-consensually during the,
especially when it's about a video game. People are there to have fun and have a competitive time. It's about the game. People play games to escape the crappiness of the world. Last thing you need is to go to a gaming event, and then it just happens. The world finds you.
the act of taking photos. I don't like that this is happening. And I also think that it's pretty clear to most people, most reasonable people, that this is not normal behavior. Like, most people do not grope other people. And I don't know why it's happening to me so much in particular, but the fact remains that it is. Like I said, I don't want the takeaway to be that
why it's happening is because more people are seeing it happen on TikTok and Twitch and Kick and all these other streaming websites. People are acting like complete fools, and they're not getting any punishment. These people are doing stupid crap, disrespectful crap, and they're not getting punished for it. Like, people are out there speeding on the highway, and it's not until they crash that they might get banned for a couple days. Then they're back streaming and doing the same crap all over again. Like, the amount of stupid stuff I've seen from streamers and TikTokers is just, it makes me, as someone who deals with children, and you see the impact that it has. Like, so I see a version of reality where the youth, the generation coming up, is being molded by brain rot. They're being molded by stupidity of people my generation, millennials, doing stupid crap, and even the younger generation doing stupid crap. And people are starting to be it's starting to normalize that this is acceptable and that there is no consequences. And that's a problem. And what's going to happen is it's going to continue to go on. It's going to continue to progress and become bigger issues. And you may have your own opinion about it, whether, I'm going to put my chest out there. You shouldn't be touching no one that you have no right to touch, period. You didn't get permission. Don't touch people. It's simple as that. I don't care what you believe. Your beliefs mean nothing to me. Keep your damn hands off people who don't ask you to touch them.
This is the only issue, or that the things that I'm going to be making changes are in direct response to the groping issue. In fact, out of all the issues I've been facing at tournaments, I think that groping is actually relatively low on my priority list of things that I would fix if I could snap my fingers and make them go away, primarily because it only happens once or twice at most events.
Okay, he is like, this is a thing that happens to people who are victimized. They try to minimize traumatic experiences, and you're like, that's not traumatic. Who's to say that who made you the owner of his mindset and his emotions? And yes, being sexually assaulted, is traumatic, especially when you feel like you're trapped and you don't know. Like, it's obvious that it impacted him so much that it's making him change his life based on these interactions. Like, I want to point out that he is trying, and it happens. People who are victimized try to, try to minimize themselves, the issue, to try to bottle it up. And this is minimizing the bigger issue. He's making life changes based on something that he may seem as not that as big of a deal on the list of things that are a problem. However, it is all impactful to his life. Like, you hear this language all the time when they try to dismiss it, saying, well, it's not that big of a deal. No, it is. You're just minimizing that it's not a big deal. It is a big deal because it's impacting you. You're trying to minimize the grander impact, because if it wasn't a big deal, you wouldn't have it change aspects of your life. It wouldn't cause detriment to you. It is a big deal. Who said it wasn't a big deal?
And so there are more pressing things that have a higher impact beyond just making me feel bad and kind of violated in a way. So please understand that this is just an example to give you a sense of kind of the general scope. I have another example for you, and
but I know I'm stopping, and that's part of the reacting. It is very telling, because we don't know the bigger picture, and he's not going to give the bigger picture. Like, he's going to try to just give examples. If he's being honest and he's not minimizing this, if sexual assault, and I'm not trying to laugh, it's very awkward, this situation. So that was an awkward response. If sexual assault is on the low end of the stuff that he has endured, that's terrifying. Like, that concept, the conceptualization of that is terrifying. That sexual assault is on the bottom of the list.
It's less intense, but I think it also is helpful in its own way. It comes from NAIC this year. North American Internationals this year was an interesting tournament. North American Internationals was the tournament where the tournament began on Friday, and I changed my flight to go home on Saturday. And the reason for that is because before the tournament, I don't remember if it was like Wednesday or Thursday, but I had slept on my neck weird. Like, I had one of those, it was like a crappy hotel pillow.
Oh,
and
yeah.
On the bed, and I woke up and I was experiencing rather severe neck pain. For my fellow, older gamers, you probably know, neck pain is extremely debilitating. And it was one of those situations where, like, I couldn't really turn my head from this angle without experiencing moderate to severe pain. So
you're getting old when I know exactly what he's talking about.
It was not a good environment to be competing in, as you can imagine. And what made it especially difficult is that over the course of the weekend, people would reach out and they would grab me, not sexually, just regularly, right? But they would often grab me from a place where I could not see them, from like over my shoulder or something. And by instinct, when I am touched by a stranger, I would turn towards the stranger, and in doing so, it would cause my neck to spaz out. And so this happened, I don't remember the exact number, I was not really keeping track, but I know it was over 10 times. Over the course of one day of competing, people would reach out to get my attention, right? It feels, I think, to most people normal to be like, oh, I know that guy, let me go ahead and grab him, right? Like, you would reach out.
That's not normal. It's normal if it's friends or family. It is not normal to walk down the street and have a stranger, like, I'm just saying for street, to walk through an event and have someone touch you or grab you or act friendly with you. Outside of, hey, Wolfey, hey, hey, can I get a picture? You know, you don't go up to the president of the United States and try to touch him. And no, I know that's a bad example because you'd get tackled or shot. But I'm just saying, like, there are certain like realities that you just don't do. And going up and touching strangers that they don't know you, that's not normal. That's not acceptable behavior. Like, and it shouldn't be normalized.
And touch a friend, except that for me, I don't know these people, and they're strangers, and it made my life so difficult at that tournament that I decided that I couldn't continue having my neck spaz out, and so I changed my flight home to Saturday morning. And I left the tournament after a single day of competition. I was eliminated, by the way, just that's important context. I didn't leave while I was still in the tournament, but having been eliminated, I just like couldn't deal with people continuing to touch me and continuing to make my neck spaz out. And I understand that, or I guess I should say the reason why I give this example is because I think that it's a much more understandable action, right? To reach out and, like, you know, touch someone on the shoulder or on the arm or whatever.
I don't agree. I don't agree. And again, it's trying to minimize, you're trying to justify the behavior of other people. It happens a lot. Like, it's not really that a big deal. Like, no one has a right to touch you. No one. It doesn't even matter if they're not touching they're groping you. They are touching your body. Unless it's an accident or they know you and they actually know you, like your friends or family, or, you know, you're a coworker, something that has some kind of actual attachment. But strangers do not get to just pat you on the back and try to get your attention. That's not normal. That's not something that should be acceptable, period.
And like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing it in a vacuum, but at scale, and especially when there are other things going on, it can become quite distracting and quite problematic.
He's being very nice about this.
And I would say that these two examples are indicative of kind of the two types of issues that I've been facing at tournaments. The one being people perhaps not understanding normal social norms, or of being too aggressive, or I don't know, like just violating boundaries in some way. And the other being of people behaving normally in a vacuum, but difficult to handle at scale. These two types of issues got so bad at the World Championships this year that on the finals of Worlds, on Worlds Sunday, I felt that I had no choice except to leave the venue. I just wanted to be there and to watch the finals in person in the crowd. And yet things got so difficult for me that I had to leave. I understood that
again, don't try to minimize it. You had such a strong emotional reaction. This is behavior that is not acceptable. It doesn't matter how small other people feel. It does not matter. When it comes to your body, no one has a right to make you feel so uncomfortable by touching you, groping you, trying to get your attention. It doesn't matter what the intent is. It doesn't matter. Like, there's a lot of things that you could say are done with good intent, but there's some of the heinous things that have happened in history. Intent does not matter in this regard because they are violating and disrespecting your personal space, which is funny. I have these conversations with students all the time. Kids nowadays don't understand boundaries. And I imagine that some of these kids, and it's probably a wider society, have parents who also disrespect personal space. I'm sure there are people who were touching Wolfey who probably have children, who will probably have similar issues. And it's a societal thing. It shouldn't be accepted for any reason. You don't know someone, you're not friends with them, you're not family, do not touch them. It's like a museum. You go and you look, but you never touch.
There's no way I was going to be able to have any semblance of a positive experience if I stayed. And so this year's World Championship Finals, I watched in my hotel room, and it was a uniquely bad feeling. I'm going to move on from this because I could talk about examples all day, but I don't think that's helpful. Hopefully, I think the people who will get it have gotten it, and the people who won't are never going to get it. So I'm going to move on.
I think it's good to put it out there, to give examples and to show what is actually going on at these tournaments. No one's a mind reader. And if it's not out there for people, like 1.3 million people have seen this. So more coverage, more awareness allows people to understand the social aspects that are going on that are not acceptable. So I actually do think it would be better to do a video that just puts it all out there. These are all the things that continue to happen, A, B, C, D, E, D, and they shouldn't. And it is helpful because when people now in the future will hopefully keep that in the back of their mind when they go to these events to be like, okay, yeah, I know that YouTuber, I know that competitor. Is she gonna go for touch his nuts? Are they gonna try to touch his ass? Are they gonna try to caress his shoulders or like people are going to be more aware and look for that and call that crap out, which is exactly what should happen. You see it, you stop it. Exactly how it should be. We should, as a society, shame that behavior.
Just a little interlude here. I want to talk about how this has affected me. In general, I consider myself to be a very low stress and low anxiety person. And in fact, pretty much the only area where I ever feel any stress or anxiety is at a Pokemon tournament. And I think because that like stress and anxiety while competing can be so intense, it makes all other feelings of stress or anxiety or whatever pressure just feel really like nothing burgers in comparison. So I'm willing to bet that I have a significantly lower than average level of stress compared to like, you know, like I'm below the median or whatever. And I mentioned that because after getting home from a tournament, this is pretty much true across the board. It takes me about a week before I go back to feeling normal. And what I mean by that is it takes me about a week before I can go outside my house without having my heart rate spike and without feeling pretty intense anxiety. Because normally when I'm at a tournament, when I leave my, you know, the safety of my hotel room or wherever I'm staying, that's when I have to start being on guard because that's when
that language, the safety of a room. That language is massive. The fact that he has such an emotion, the stress levels, not because of the event itself, which stress is a good thing, right? Stress is a good thing because if you care about something, it's going to be natural. It's going to happen. But stress caused from genuine fear from interacting with other people outside of, you could say, you know, if you're an introvert or stuff like that. But this is caused duly by someone sexually assaulting you. That trauma, he literally is expressing, I don't want to say PTSD because that you have to meet several marks to be diagnosed with PTSD, but he's having traumatic experiences. He's recalling some of these feelings because of what he's gone through, right? It's very reminiscent of PTSD, but again, you have to meet certain DSM criteria, and I don't have my DSM, and I don't know if we know enough information to actually say that he has PTSD. It has to impact wider ranges of your life. But the fact that he's explained that even at home, it takes him time to get to a normal state of not having a negative reaction of leaving a room or leaving the safety of home. That is not normal. That kind of response is not normal. And again, you can't say it's because he's just an introvert. It is directly correlating to the fear of interacting with people who will touch him or be inappropriate of him. It stresses him out to a unnormal degree. It's not acceptable.
Some of the challenges start. And even when I'm home from a tournament, it still takes me about a week before I can go back to feeling normal. I don't know what your perception of me is. I don't know if you perceive me as a relatively normal guy who deals with problems in relatively normal ways, or maybe you perceive me as someone who really overreacts. I don't know. But if you think that I have a relatively normal reaction to most things, then perhaps that piece of information is indicative to you of some of the ways that things have been affecting me. Maybe you think that I'm just dramatic, in which case it doesn't really matter.
Again, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. It's your body. It's your life. You are having a traumatic experience. Your emotions, your mentality, everything's being impacted by this situation. when you ask someone to go actually see a therapist, and or you are seeking out therapy, it's not about what the therapist thinks about you. You don't see a therapist and get their opinion and think like, oh, what do you think about me? No, that's not what they're there for. They're to help you work through your emotions, work through the trauma that you've gone through, unpack it, and to be able to live with it in a healthy way. And in this regard, maybe walk away or maneuver around it, because you can't control everyone. That's the problem here, is that you can't control how people act. So you have to be able to navigate yourself and decide what you need to do, what's best for you in your life. And that's what it sounds like he's trying to do when he says he's going to stop possibly going to these tournaments, because he can't control them, but he can control him. Like, he can control what he does. And it's really unfair, and it sucks. It's unfair. You got to do what's best for you and your mental health.
Okay. More importantly than just, coming home and having some extra stress and anxiety for about a week, the big thing is that it's been making tournaments less and less fun to attend. And I love competing and I love attending tournaments, and having these issues that have become not the rarity, not the exception, but a constant battle that I feel I am fighting. It's been making tournaments less and less fun. And also it's worth noting that as tournaments have grown, my tactics that I've had for years to deal with a lot of this stuff have been rendered ineffective. They are no longer effective at handling a lot of this behavior, which, because I've been dealing with it for years, albeit at a smaller scale, I think I'm actually quite good at it. The first thing I would always do when I would attend a Pokemon tournament is I would find a hiding place, like a little nook or a cranny somewhere where I could go to and I could be out of sight, and so I could just have a little bit of privacy and peace and quiet and not, have to deal with a lot of the stuff between rounds. Because it's worth noting that even though at a Pokemon tournament, most people see me as a YouTuber or an influencer or whatever you want to call me, I'm there to compete. I'm not there to do fan interaction. I'm not there to be, hey guys, it's me, the YouTuber. You know what I mean? Like, I go to tournaments because I love competing. And while I also enjoy meeting fans, it's not my primary reason for being there. And so when I'm at a tournament,
I would say in that regard, if he wanted to just meet actual fans, he would do a meetup, and it would be probably structured in a way that makes him feel comfortable. He'd probably have some friends or someone that would be there to support and kind of keep an eye on him. Whereas I imagine at these tournaments, it's chaotic. Everyone's everywhere. So his friends are probably competing. So they're not able to kind of, support him. The fact that he has to hide, and this is ongoing, it screams volumes. And again, he says at a lesser value, or like the impact is lesser than it was. Like, the impact in the previous years was lesser than what it is now. But again, that could be him minimizing the situation, which he has already done that a couple of times. I think the overall situation is just not acceptable. Like, none of this, you can't minimize it. You can't try to, compartmentalize it. It is, none of it is acceptable. And it is very much impacting his life and his experience.
It's been my goal to focus as much as I can on the actual aspect of competing. I'm not saying that, I shouldn't have to do any fan interaction, because, like, obviously I understand that I do have an online presence and I am an influencer, right? Or whatever you want to call what it is that I do. But the balance has been way off. And where I'm going with this, I've lost my thought a little bit, but where I'm going with this is that I had ways of dealing with this stuff, in that I would go to a tournament and I would find hiding places around the venue, often outside of the venue, because a venue is basically a big rectangle. There's no hiding places at most of them. So my strategy for years was to show up, find a place like close to the venue that I could go into a little nook and hide with my friends between rounds, and we'd have a little meeting spot. But the problem is that tournaments have gotten significantly better. Tournaments that were once getting, struggling to get 50 entrants or 100 entrants are now getting close to 1,000. And therefore, the venues themselves have gotten bigger. And so it's no longer so feasible for me to go find a place to hide outside of the venue, because I need to walk so far in order to find a place that has some privacy, that I'm not able to make it back in time for the next round. This is an explanation for those of you who are wondering, by the way, that I never talked about before, about the 2024 World Championships. Some of you may remember, if you watched that video, that there was a bit of a plot twist where I found out I was going to be playing when I was not expecting to play, and I wasn't in the venue at that time. And a lot of people were like, well, why weren't you in the venue? And this is why, because I wasn't able to be in the venue and also feel like I could focus on competing. And so I left the venue in order, like, between rounds with my friends, to find a hiding spot that was like a 5-minute plus walk away. And therefore, when things didn't go to plan and suddenly I had to be in the venue when I didn't realize I was playing, I ended up being very flustered. I had to run back to the venue. It took me forever because of an unexpected kind of thing here. I'm moving on. I don't think that was exactly as well explained as I would have liked, but
I get it. It was something. It caught him off guard. It was a bad situation. Again, the bottom dollar is he shouldn't have to do that. Like, that is not. No one else is having to react and do that, or maybe they are, in which case it's still not acceptable. But yeah, it is. It's just it's crazy. Everything is very revealing and very telling about the behavior that he has to do in response to other behaviors that are not acceptable. And it makes me wonder, like, how is it, like, what are the reactions if he were to report this behavior? Or is he afraid to report? I mean, the fear of, like, that's the number one issue, is that people fear reporting. They feel like people won't believe them, or it'll cause more trouble, and they feel like it's not worth it. So they just sacrifice you know what? I'm going to sacrifice my well-being. I'll make it easy. I'll remove myself from the situation. I'm going to take the burden on that I shouldn't have to take. And that's kind of what it sounds like he's been doing. Again, don't know the full story. Don't know how the events are specifically run. Don't know how willing they are to listen to the competitors and what they're willing to do to try to help them. I don't know. I don't know the full thing, the story.
I'm determined to make sure this video is not 40 minutes. I'm at 12, so maybe I can keep it under.
He's doing better than me.
Ambitious. Moving on. Okay. There's more to this video, but I want to talk about the in-person changes first, and then we're going to talk about some of the online stuff because there's.
Okay. So I know there's more to the story, and there's more that I could give my thoughts on and how he's going to react. I'm going to let you go watch his video. Watch the rest of it. This is just, I wanted to react to what is actually what happened versus how he's now going to react to it, because he's going to either step away or he's going to limit his interactions with, and again, that should not have to happen. I got the snapshot of what happened, and I've given my thoughts on it. Please watch the video. Go watch the full thing. That's another reason I'm doing it. Give it a like. If you like Pokemon and competitive Pokemon, subscribe to him. He's a great guy. Just stick up, spread the story, spread that we need, that things have to change. Like, overall, it has to change. This is the behavior from people in general is not acceptable. It is some real delusional aspects. People believe that, hey, I can just go touch and do whatever I want. I mean, we've had other instances. I think like TwitchCon, a streamer named Emaru got almost kissed by, like, it's an ongoing issue, and I think things will get worse, which makes going to like these events and doing things with people around kind of scary. But we shouldn't accept it. That's the key thing. We should try to stop it and actively be a voice against it. So that's why I want to do my part to make a video. It may be a longer video, but again, watch the full thing. Give it the time. The link will be down below, unless YouTube's being stupid and deletes all my description, which it looks like it deleted his. I hate when it does that. We upload and then you fill it out and then it's just like, delete. Anyways, I thank you for watching. Again, more serious video, but this is a serious situation. No jokes, no like haha he ha's. This is a serious thing. And if you've been impacted by something like this, try not to minimize your experience. I do. And I'm not saying this as like, I've done it in the past with people who are just crazy, and I mock the craziness of people. I'm genuinely saying, if you have been impacted by a sexual assault or you've had some kind of traumatic experience like Wolfey here, please go see a therapist. I mean, really, see a therapist, get help, work through your problems, make sure that's not impacting your life. And if it is impacting your life, I absolutely encourage you to do so, because this is not something you brush under the rug. This is not something that you minimize and say it's nothing. No, it's your life. It's your emotions, your feelings. No one else is going to care about it. So care about yourself. Take care of yourself. So in this regard, as serious as I can be, please see a therapist. And I hope he does. I feel like the everything he's revealed, that this is an ongoing issue, there's a lot probably to unpackage. And the fact that it also impacts his daily life, like he has to go back to normal, that is not normal. Even for an introvert, like going to do something that you should love and coming back and then you have to, wait to feel safe to go out, not normal. So I hope for the best for him. I hope he gets help. I hope that things shape up. And I hope that the community overall continues to make this known and pushes it, and that the gaming community doesn't tolerate this. It's not acceptable. I'm yapping, so I'm going to end there. Thank you guys.